I said it before, I'll say it again. Keep a close eye on the attorneys general like Kris Mayes out of Arizona, because she's going to continue to lead the charge against Donald Trump, MAGA, and others through the state court criminal processes. And she's already issued a new demand, a challenge, if you will, to Merrick Garland, the outgoing attorney general. He's got another week on the clock, demanding that he, in the time provided, turn over his entire investigative file, the entire case file for the D.C. election interference case that was before Judge Chutkan. Just turn it over to her and the other attorneys general who are currently, for instance, have indicted and are prosecuting 18 co-conspirators not named Donald Trump in Arizona for election interference in 2020. She's got 18, not only Arizonians, that's the 11 fake electors. She's got another 7 national figures that used to work with Donald Trump. And I'll continue to follow that right here. Thank you for joining me on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Here we go. Kris Mayes and her new demand letter. Just got our hands on it, sent via email. Now, let me just, before I read to you from passages of it, Kris Mayes and other attorneys general sat patiently waiting for the federal Department of Justice and special counsel to do their job and bring all these people to justice. She let them Bigfoot the state prosecutions, because that's usually what happens. Feds go first, states take a back seat. But then after watching all of the delays in the Jack Smith prosecution and investigation, all of the delays in Merrick Garland appointing a special counsel, about 8 or 9 months ago, because we reported on it on Legal AF, she just got a grand jury together in Arizona and she indicted 18 people. It includes Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff for Donald Trump, at the end, Rudy Giuliani, who, is not doing well in terms of the court system lately, having lost both of his law licenses, been indicted in Georgia, and just got found in contempt by 2 different federal courts. Mike Roman, who was the election day coordinator for all things Donald Trump. He's the one that got the fake elector scheme up and running and brought over, and the certificates brought over to Congress and all of that. And she wants to move forward. And she knows there are things in those files that could both help her and maybe be helpful to the defense. So in her letter, she says to Merrick Garland, just give it to me, effectively. I'll take care of it. And if there's anything exculpatory, tending to prove the innocence of the people I've indicted, I'll turn it over to them, which I have to do under a concept in the law that we call Brady or Jenks. A material have to be turned over to the defense. This is right on the heels of Judge Cannon initially blocking the release of the D.C. election interference report. Although now, from my reporting that I just did on Midas Touch, you should know, or if not, I'll tell you here, that Cannon has finally issued a ruling that is effectively against Donald Trump. She's unblocking the release of Volume 1 on the D.C. election interference case, which he wasn't even presiding over, to allow Merrick Garland to release it to the American people Tuesday morning at 12:01 a.m. So we should see it by tomorrow. Report back here on Legal AF. I'll give you the update once I read the 1,000 pages. I can give you a summary of how I see what's in there against Donald Trump. Now back to this case. Knowing that, and knowing that it was blocked, Kris Mayes reminds Merrick Garland, well, even supplying it to me is not blocked. So here's what she's asking for as a professional courtesy. I'm writing to request that the Department of Justice disclose to my office its case file in special counsel's investigation and prosecution relating to the 2020 presidential election in Washington, known as the election case, as authorized by a recent order of Maricopa County Superior Court. Maricopa County Superior Court judge wants whatever she can get her hands on to be turned over to the defense as well, and she's willing to do it. She reminds Merrick Garland, Kris Mayes does, Attorney General Mayes, says that early in my term, or as Arizona's Attorney General, my office sought access to special counsel's materials in the case while it was ongoing. The special counsel then was not ready or able to share any materials. Today, your office does not have an active case. Turn it over to me, effectively. She then goes through the background of who she's indicted. Then she says on page 1, again, undoubtedly disclosing the special counsel's file to my office will help ensure that those who should be held accountable are. But I am also Arizona's chief law enforcement officer and a minister of justice. I must be sure the rights of the defendants are protected, and I plan on turning over any exculpatory material to them. This is what she says on page 2. I am unaware of all documents that special counsel disclosed in the election case, but from media reports, it appears that the Office of Special Counsel has disclosed its report to defense counsel. That's true. Sounds like the first week in January, Trump's lawyers got a hold of Volume 1 and Volume 2, invited in by special counsel. They wrote a letter objecting. He wrote a letter back, which we'll see one day, and that's what happened there. To be sure, she continues, that my office has all incriminating and exculpatory evidence possessed by the special counsel. I'm requesting you disclose to my office the entire file, including the final report in the election case to the extent allowable. She gives him until January 14th at 5 o'clock. Okay. I like the way you operate. Shout out to General Kris Mayes. Now, Donald Trump's going to be tied up a little bit through his proxies on the 14th, 15th, and 16th because Judge Cannon is going to hold on the 16th a full-blown hearing in Fort Pierce, Florida federal court about whether the Mar-a-Lago report should be released not to the public, but to the ranking members of the House and the Senate on the Judiciary Committee. She doesn't like that either, even though the law says exactly that and requires exactly that by the Attorney General. But then again, Eileen Cannon has had a strange relationship, almost an allergy with the separation of powers. She doesn't really understand how the executive branch functions or what Article 1 powers are or Article 2 powers for that matter, let alone her Article 3 powers under the Constitution as a sitting federal judge. It's shocking how little she understands the separation of powers and continues to challenge laws put on the books by Congress that require certain actions by the Attorney General and think that she has jurisdiction over them on a case that she's dismissed and is up on appeal. I'm a little bit hot and bothered by it, but I think that's why you come to Legal AF on this YouTube channel. So we're going to hear if Mar-a-Lago is ever going to see the light of day. In the meantime, attorneys general are waking up and asking the Department of Justice before they completely go out of business and shut the doors. It's like a local Kmart or JCPenney going out of business. You know how sad those are at the very end? It's getting to be like that for the Department of Justice. But there are still things on the shelf, like these binders of all of this material for Volume 1 and Volume 2. So line up, attorneys general. It's going out of business sale for the Department of Justice. Half price. Volume 1 can be yours. And you can use it in your prosecutions of the co-conspirators not named Donald Trump. So I'll continue to follow it. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do a video thanking everybody for having us hit this weekend 400,000 subscribers in less than 4 months. You do the math. That's extraordinary. And we're well on our way to our goal of 500,000 by our half birthday, but with your help. I really do appreciate everything that you've done on your end of the lens on the other side, and I'll still do my part full time here on Legal AF and the Midas Touch Network. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.